Hello and welcome to the Intel Brief. Today is Friday, 4 April. I'm your host Daniel, and today we'll be covering China has levied another 34% of duties on US goods. Denmark again tells the US that they can't have Greenland. And TikTok's sale is coming down to the wire. So firstly, following the announcement by the US of new reciprocal tariffs targeting China, the Chinese government has responded by imposing an additional 34% tariffs on goods imported from the US, set to take effect on April 10th. This move comes after US President Donald Trump declared a minimum 10% tariffs on all imports, with a specific focus on countries he identified as major contributors for trade imbalances with the US, notably including China. As a result, the cumulative tariffs on the Chinese imports have escalated to 54%, reflecting both the new tariff and the existing 20%. Additionally, Beijing plans to tighten export controls on crucial rare earth minerals vital for the tech industry, particularly in the production of semiconductors and electric vehicle batteries, and has also imposed restrictions on 27 US companies. In retaliation to the US tariffs, China's Commerce Ministry has announced that it will initiate a lawsuit against the United States at the World Trade Organization. The ministry criticized the US tariffs as a severe violation of the WTO's rules, undermining the rights of WTO members and damaging the rules-based multilateral trading system and global economic order. The Chinese government describes the US actions as unilateral bullying and a threat to global economic stability, strongly opposing all of these measures. So what? So, a trade war it is. While it appears that Trump thinks he has a plan, it is likely that this will have a significant effects on consumers in America in the short to medium term. However, the market's reaction indicates that they do not support whatever Trump's plan seems to be, or at least the uncertainty that it's creating, with almost $2 trillion wiped off the stock market. Only time will tell if Trump has made the right move, but in the short term, it appears highly likely that the average person is going to feel some pain. And next, Denmark's Prime Minister has strongly rebuffed the US administration's suggestions, led by President Donald Trump, that the United States should assume control of Greenland. Speaking from Greenland alongside the island's incoming and outgoing Prime Ministers, she emphasized the broader implications of such a move, asserting that it would disrupt the established order of the world developed across the Atlantic over many generations. She firmly stated that annexing another country under the guise of security concerns is completely unacceptable, highlighting that Greenland is part of Denmark with its own self-rule on most internal matters, while Copenhagen handles its foreign affairs and defence. The context for the US interest in Greenland, articulated by Trump, revolves around strategic security concerns regarding Russia and China in the Arctic region, as well as potentially exploiting Greenland's extensive natural resources. Amidst these tensions, Greenland's incoming Prime Minister stressed the importance of unity between Denmark and Greenland against external pressures. So what? It is highly unlikely that the US is going to gain control of Greenland, particularly as the population of the island recently voted almost unanimously against the idea. Though, it is likely that the US will increase its presence on the island in cooperation with Greenland and Denmark. One positive, much like Trump's recent shake-up of NATO, is that Denmark is going to increase their defence spending on Greenland, which is likely critical in the possible upcoming arms race in the Arctic. If you want to learn more about this subject as a whole, we are releasing a video about it on Sunday at 2 p.m. UK time, so check it out. And make sure you're subscribed to that Intel guy on YouTube. Cheers. And lastly, in a bid to address national security concerns, the Biden administration mandated last year that TikTok, owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, either be sold to a non-Chinese entity or face a ban in the US. Legislation signed by President Biden at the time, which has bipartisan support, limits foreign ownership in such companies to 20% for foreign adversaries, including China. TikTok was told that it needed to divest its US operations by January 19th, 2025. The Supreme Court upheld this decision, but President Trump extended the deadline to April 5th for sale negotiations. Ownership of TikTok remains largely unchanged, with ByteDance still in control. About 60% is owned by global institutional investors, while the rest belongs to the founder and its employees. The US Department of Justice has labeled TikTok's founder a mouthpiece for Chinese Communist Party propaganda, raising geopolitical tensions. Potential buyers include Oracle, which is focused on data security to meet US regulations. President Trump has hinted at tariff negotiations to facilitate the sale, emphasizing broader trade issues with China, as we just mentioned in the other story. If a sale doesn't happen soon, he may extend the deadline, or TikTok could be banned from the US app stores, affecting millions of users. So what? It appears that ByteDance is attempting to call the US's bluff around the banning of the app, likely hoping that Trump will not want to anger voters further with a crashing economy and possible recession in the near future. However, it is also likely that Trump will want to get the sale through so he can frame it as a win for his leadership. Regardless, even if the app is sold, then it will likely still pose a security concern until the new ownership can update the app significantly to remove any backdoors the previous owners implemented and move all its data storage to servers inaccessible to the current owners. Thank you for tuning in to the Intel Brief, your daily update on global geopolitics, brought to you by HM Intelligence. And if you're curious to learn more about intelligence, check out one of our courses in the description below. Thank you for listening. I've been your host, Daniel, and I'll see you next time.